Hi, everybody. And, I wanted to talk about the urban heat island intensive observation period because I was having a sense there was less data being taken than I wanted to be taken or in the past. But in the last 2 minutes, I've realized that, well, the Globe website sometimes it lets you down to some degree. So let me share my screen. All right, so I'm going to go to the punchline first, which wasn't my plan, but we'll do that. All right, here's some data I collected today off the Globe website. Now, I'll show you how it's wrong in a second. But here's the number of sites that are participated in urban heat island surface temperature campaign and now intensive observation period. So this has been going on, at least 10 years. I have 11 years of data here. You can see how we were under 200 sites in 2014. We got up to, it shows almost 1,200 sites in 2021, and then slowly has gone down since then. I think this big jump, 2020, of course, we had the pandemic, so number of sites went down, but surface temperature was put on the app. And when you use the app to do surface temperature, you sometimes end up creating a new site each time you take an observation. So then it kind of proliferated sites, I think. So that's why you have this big jump in my, from what I understand, from looking at it. The number of observations, all right, so, the number of observations went up, and the number of observations per site, like 2019, I did that calculation, it was up to like 40 observations. So like individual schools were taking a lot of observations. And then that number went down because, the number of sites went up. Anyway, our most data collected was in 2019. Then we had the pandemic, went down a little bit, went up, and then in 2024 went down. So that's what I figured out. So I've been concerned about the data. Now, then I just plotted the data for a year using the Viz system. And more data showed up than, oh, let me go to, because I put the data in CODAP. That's why, for the last year. And here's the map that CODAP shows of where the surface temperature observations were taken. Notice not a lot in the United States. So then I realized, oh, for some reason, and this is data I got through the ADAT system, and I might show this later in the meeting if people want to see me do some ADAT work. It was later in to ADAT, it doesn't have all the data that I got on the Viz system, right? So I don't know, bring that, there's more data here. And this makes sense because we had the solar eclipse here. People took surface temperature along totality. So this looks much better. And even some data in Alaska. So I'm not sure what's going on. And so my data, I can't rely on it. So I went to the punchline, and I'm telling you now, I can't rely on what I did. So I'm not even sure if how well the urban heat island campaign / intensive observation period is doing anymore. So I don't know if I should be worried or not. But that was the purpose of this meeting, was to encourage everybody to, number one, you could take surface temperature yourself and participate in urban heat island campaign, or have encouraged teachers or students to do that. All right, so I'll go back. So a lot of these slides I presented at AGU on a citizen science program. And I had collaborators from Malta, the Netherlands, and the city of Toledo. So I'm going to share some of that. You guys know all this stuff. This is all part of the Globe Mission Earth Project. Grant mentioned he's project manager. These are some of our collaborators. It's the University of New Hampshire, Boston University, Palmyra Cove, NASA Langley, Tennessee State, Xavier University, Wested, and UC Berkeley, and Jody. Excite Learning. So I can't say Bowling Green State University, right? I should say Excite Learning. And then our intensive observation period, we kind of try to concentrate observations October, December, and March, kind of spread out some seasons. and somewhat in July, in the summer around the annual meeting. So I just, did some quick stuff, over 15 years. Now I think this number is wrong, 4,772 sites. I think it's actually different than that, but it's approximate couple 100,000 surface temperature observations. So these are observations students have taken by hand, right? That's impressive. So for the 30th anniversary globe, I'm going to do a little more deeper dive. I think I'm presenting in April or May on that. This year, our IOP, we're looking at kind of 3 different things, but mainly the school grounds, trying to get the kids to look at their playgrounds, maybe painted parking lots. One of the schools in Toledo, McKinley, has a painted playground. It has all kinds of different things, like a mural on the playground, on the surface. And so I'm hoping, and I've encouraged some of the teachers there to have their students take temperature. I think they'll do it in spring. Once, number one, they have school again, because they haven't had school here from the cold. And number 2, they're allowed to go outside, because they don't go outside too much until it's about 50 degrees. And the other is turf fields. Artificial turf is actually one of the hottest surfaces. And if you're not familiar, we get people to do projects, get the students to do projects and present them. We have local student research symposia. We have the regional ones around the country. And then the IVSS, the International Virtual Science Symposium. We have a web page for kids. It shows them what to do. Now, this is the first project, I think, that the kids studied their playground. This was from the Dominican Republic. Maria told me that the Minister of Education wanted everybody in Dominican Republic to be basketball stars. So they made all the playgrounds asphalt basketball courts, which of course in the tropical country are very hot. So the kids looked into what color should they paint the asphalt to make it cooler. And actually they came upon green. And this was in like 2005. And this is a long time ago. Now, if you look online, there's research done by Berkeley into the color of pavement. So these kids did it before that. So here's the work I've been doing with the city of Toledo. I'll let Beatrice talk here. Oh.
Hi, my name is Beatrice Marengo. I work with.
You probably couldn't, could you hear that? You could? Huh. Because I don't remember sharing sound. I'll share sound now. I'll do it again. All right, let's see. Nope.
Hi, my name is Beatrice Marengo. I work for the city of Toledo, and I'm very excited to share that we have a very good working relationship and partnership with University of Toledo researchers, especially Kevin's team. But we also have collaborations with many organizations in our neighborhood. And because of this partnership, we were able to be part of the NOAA-funded urban heat mapping campaign in last year. And the city is using this data to prioritize where to plant trees. We have a very low tree canopy of less than 20%. And it's our goal to raise that to between 35 to 40. We are also happy that this data is being used by other organizations in the community that are involved in climate resiliency work. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so the work with the city, we started out with Globe, students doing project on the city, seeing that's warm. And then communicating with Beatrice, she was worried that the tree cover was low. And, we had the emerald ash borer killed a lot of the trees in the city of Toledo in this area. And my students mapped the tree cover and it was 20%. So now the city of Toledo has got a grant, I assume it's federal grant, for $6 million to plant trees in the city to try to cool things down. So we'll see how that goes. And then another project was done by Malta. And I bring these up because, these are, people are organizing projects, right, around Globe and Globe students. So Ramona organized Ireland, and you see the dots. Those are all the schools that participate, Ireland, Malta, and Israel. And I would join in to the meetings. And of course, it's like 3 in the morning our time, which was tough, 3, 4 in the morning. I'd get up and do that. But it goes back to my wife's dad is from Malta. So him, my mother-in-law and father-in-law were going to Malta about 15 years ago. I gave them infrared thermometers to take to Malta and hand out. And they gave one to Paul. I think he goes by Pace, but I think some people say Pache. But Paul at the University of Malta, and then it turned into doing Urban Heat Island in Malta, which then Ramona spread it to these 3 other countries. The students would present their projects. Oh, I should let Ramona talk. Let's see if this works.
Hello, my name is Ramona Mertria, and I am the Globe Deputy Coordinator for Malta. Globe students across the Maltese Islands actively collect data from different areas within their school and locality. Following the success of the first edition of the Globe Cooling Down Students Investigation, the second edition allowed schools and local councils to establish a dialogue channel between them. The students shared their research from the Globe Student Investigation while presenting projects related to 3 inventories. Satellite photos and the students' data were contrasted to discuss Malta's urban heat island. The students explored justice and injustice issues arising from the built environment and proposed related actions that can be implemented to bring about change within the schools and the local community, thus taking Globe investigations beyond data collection. The students, together with the mayors, delved deeper into the issue of urban heating and how cities and their communities can be more sustainable.
I'm not sure if you caught all that, but the mayors met with the kids, and the kids pointed out like the areas of warmer, cooler. Now, Ramona said that she was gonna find out what came of that work, if any action was taken. Here's another project with Portugal, Vasco Montes. He worked with us looking at artificial turf fields, and we mapped a whole bunch in Detroit and Toledo. And he's been working on using remote sensing to then look at the temperature of those. Again, artificial turf is like the hottest surface we have in our cities. And of course, every school is putting artificial turf sports fields in. And then they want the kids to practice at noon. I mean, I've seen kids getting heat stroke all the time. I mean, it's not in the winter, but in the summer, that type of thing. Because it's fine for football on Friday night when it's dark, but not, soccer at noon or 4 o'clock, or whatever. So, but this is what we produce for that. And then this is a school in Greece. They made a video for how to take observations. Of course, they have an artificial turf field in Greece. All these countries, it's artificial turf everywhere. Then the Netherlands, they did a study. They actually did a bunch here. I think there was a translate to English somewhere on the website. And, Brian did his trees thing. I think the one was air quality. I'm not sure what the Grow app is. And so these are the schools that participated here in the Amsterdam area. Oh, okay. Does anybody want me to show CODAP?
I do.
Yeah, I'm interested. I'm curious why the data didn't transfer, or do you think it didn't transfer all the way from the Viz system to CODAP?
And okay, that might be what it is. Okay, Robin, excellent thought. Because CODAP takes, I think it took 5,000 observations, so it's subsampled observation. I bet that's what happened. Okay. I think I better check it though. Because well, if I go with the Viz system, it says there were 1,300 sites, 1,331. But when I did the ADAT, it showed for this year 820 sites. That's 500 sites different. That's a head scratcher. I was just scratching my head. It's a head scratcher.
I'm gonna just jump in and make up some ideas here. But
Okay, yeah,
you
love it.
said if people were entering data with the app every time it made a new site,
Yeah.
do you think CodeApp consolidated them?
No. So yeah, there's the code app showing less on the map, but even just using on the Globe website, the Viz system and ADA are both Globe. Has nothing to do with code app. They are showing me those different numbers of sites, 1,300 versus 850 or something like that. That's a big difference. And then the number of observations is different as well. So concerning. And this has been an ongoing concern, problem. All right. So we have two people maybe that want to see code app. Is that true?
I always want to see you do code app because I learned so much from you. And now I'm like,
Okay.
I have a Kevin on my shoulder when I go to places and I load up code app and I'm like, oh yeah, you have to change the attribute table to make it numeric.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I had forgotten that earlier today. And oh yeah, I got to change that to numeric. I think there's also a connection with, oh, I forgot who it was. Someone was saying that there's a new connect or plug-in to code app that takes the globe data. I suspect it makes it numeric right away and you don't have to switch it. All right, so let's see what I can do then. All right. Well, should we download this data? Or is that gonna be too much? Let's
Then you
see.
gotta share your
My
screen.
share, gotta share my screen. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be helpful. And I saw John there for a second. Hi, John.
Hi, John.
Okay, so now there's the service temperature noons. I always do both, but view layer table. Now the other data I used was out of the ADAT. Let's see what this gives me. Oh, this is only giving me count. Okay, this is giving me a summary. Okay, bear with me. Oh, here's the ADATs. So let me get, so I selected my protocols and the date range. I'll do a new date range that's smaller. Let's see. Let's do.
How about the 10th or something?
Let's do October till now. Apply
Okay.
filter. Okay, apply filter. All right, 340 sites. Obtain measurement data. Takes a second to process. That's 8,200 observations. This is surface temperature. Now this is kind of, I did this video for, I forgot what it was. Christy, you know what it was, right?
That was your IVSS webinar.
There you go. Thank you. See, I knew you'd know. All right, so it downloaded in the downloads. You see, I was doing a whole bunch today because I was looking at the different data, right? So I right click, you have to unzip it. So I use 7-zip, extract files. I just extracted in downloads. Let's see, make sure it's the right one. Ends in 30. Open up I can open the Excel file to look at it, right? Okay, so this is what the data looks like. Lots of columns, maybe too many, all right? The surface is dry. Let's see what's this one? Average surface temperature noons. Number of observations is interesting. A lot of people just take one. You know, we recommend 9. So here's 9. There's 1, 8. Just looking at the data. Lots of 1s. Here's some 3s. Some people do 3s. The surface permeable pavers, sand. I think the sand comes from Saudi Arabia, maybe. All right. And then, you know, there's things like latitude, longitude, right? Elevation, it might be interesting. So, okay, code app. I have open here, so I can get rid of this data. All right, so you got to open the new data. So you go there, import. I'll drop your file there so I can do this. Drop the file in. Okay, let's see what it says. See, yeah, it's subsampled to 5,000 rows, which is fine. I'll just do that. Because there's more than 5,000 lines. I think you can operate with more, but of course it takes longer to process. And because I'm on Zoom, it's going to take longer to process. Will it come back? Maybe I shouldn't have
Well-
deleted those files.
While we're waiting, Kevin, Christy has her hand up, so that'd be a good
Oh,
time to take
okay. That's a great. Thank you for pointing that out. Christy.
Yeah, quick question. You were mentioning that there were a lot of observations that were just one.
Yeah.
Is that because in the app, it doesn't require you to do 9?
Correct.
You can just take a surface temperature and enter it?
Right. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why. And that was a decision made maybe by GIO or the DIS, but when they're doing the app, and wasn't necessarily my choice.
Got it. So, however, and my students have done surface temperature where because I make student accounts and then they have to go online and then you can't enter just one, you have to do 9.
Okay.
Right? Or do you need to do can
I
you
think-
just do one if you were?
You can do one, I think.
Oh, okay.
Okay, it wasn't uploading, so I'm not sure what that was.
That clarifies. Thanks.
Yeah. It might have broken it. Okay, this is a great demonstration. Oh yeah. Oh, this is like intermission. This is Timmy skating on my ice rink. All right.
Oh, the famous ice rink.
Yeah, this is the famous ice rink. I have different levels because our yard's not flat. So you have to go up and down ramps, which is hard
This
to
is-
skate up and down ramps.
But it's brilliant. We've been waiting to see this for a long time.
Oh, you have? Okay.
Yeah. It's like,
That's our
I don't
intermission.
have one of those at home.
Well, it's been a very good ice year. Last 2 years haven't been good. Okay, so you go to CodeApp and you launch CodeApp, create new document. This might be better, cleaning it out. So import. Let's see if I can drop a file. That, maybe I'm drop a file. Hey, there's some data. Okay. All right. Okay, so data came in. You just click on map and it maps it. Yeah, and you can obviously change the map. This is from 2000. Oh, what's the date?
24.
Some reason it's coming. There's Chinese there. Okay, that's weird. Oh, maybe. Oh, okay, because the school's probably Taiwan or something. I'll go with that. Okay, it's slowly. Okay. So as mentioned, you have to change some of the values to numeric. So you have to go to click on the name, edit attribute properties, type numeric. That's kind of the key. Apply. Let's see, the surface temperature is here. Do the same with that. Numeric, apply. So let's do a graph. All right, so the graph pops up here. All right. Certainly having lag because I'm trying to I'm videoing, right? So I can take the surface temperature and I'll put it on the x-axis. All right, it's gonna give me a histogram like that. And then I was gonna do what was I was it elevation? Let's do elevation. Oh, I gotta move this over because it's you just click on it, drag it, and put it on the x and then y axis. Boom, there you go. And there's our graph with temperature versus elevation. Let's do latitude. I was doing latitude earlier. Gotta change that to numeric. Maybe I can make it bigger. And just grab the latitude. Again, drop it on the y-axis. Just boom, there you go. So this is the temperature. Yeah, obviously warmer in lower latitudes, cooler in higher latitudes. Some in the southern hemisphere, not too many. I thought to me, this is pretty cool. It's fast. We could do some averages or something, right? Let's see, where's that? Okay, now I forgot where I had it or where it was. Now I just zoomed in. I thought it was here, but I could be wrong. Okay, well, never mind. Huh. All right, well, either earlier today I clicked on something that gave me an average. It has like statistics. All right, well. Count, move a line. Yeah, I thought there was a mean somewhere. All right, well, I won't waste your time on it, but you guys, anyway, you can drop the stuff in and get a plot in seconds, right? Where, when I plot in Excel, it plots the wrong thing every time. Then you have to monkey around with it. So that's unfortunate. All right, let's see. I'll just finish up with share a few more things here on my PowerPoint. Too many things open. I did want to mention the urban heat island story map that My NASA Data has. It's a great resource. It connects in well with the globe stuff. So uses the 5E: engage, explore, explain, collaborate, evaluate. So really, really good stuff there. And I think that's all I was going to present. All right.